Quick Start Guide, hosting your static HTML website on AWS S3. This podcast is brought to you by Business Compass LLC. We are an Amazon Web Services advanced consulting partner. We build and migrate workloads to Amazon Cloud. Our website is businesscompassllc.com. Our phone number is 973-638-2228. Our email address is contact@businesscompassllc.us. Getting started with AWS for static website hosting. Are you looking to host a simple static HTML page but need help figuring out where to start? AWS S3 offers a straightforward and cost-effective way to host static websites. Whether you're a beginner or an experienced developer, this podcast will walk you through getting your static HTML page live on AWS S3. Introduction to hosting static websites on AWS. Hosting static websites on AWS S3 is popular due to its scalability, reliability, and low cost. AWS S3, simple storage service, allows you to store your HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and media files and serves them to your users with high availability. Unlike dynamic websites, static sites don't require a server-side application, making S3 an ideal platform for hosting. Prerequisites for setting up AWS S3 for static website hosting. Before we dive into the steps, here's what you need. A basic understanding of HTML and web development. An AWS account. We'll cover how to create one. A static HTML page ready to be hosted. Setting up your AWS account. Creating an AWS account for access to cloud services. If you don't already have an AWS account, you'll need to create one. Here's how. Visit AWS's official website and click Create an AWS account. Enter your email address and choose a password. Select your AWS account type, personal or professional. Provide your contact information and payment details. Complete the verification process via a phone call or text message. Choose a support plan. The free tier is usually sufficient for hosting a small static website. Exploring the AWS ecosystem for future projects. Once your account is set up, explore the AWS Management Console. AWS offers valuable services for future projects, such as AWS Lambda for serverless computing, AWS RDS for relational databases, and AWS CloudFront for content delivery. Creating an S3 bucket for website hosting. An S3 bucket is a container for storing files. You'll need to create one to host your static website. Navigate to the S3 service. From the AWS Management Console, search for and select S3. Create a new bucket. Click on Create Bucket. Enter a unique name for your bucket. It must be globally unique across all AWS accounts. Choose the appropriate AWS region for your website's primary audience. Configure bucket settings. Uncheck Block all public access to make your website accessible to the public. Enable static website hosting under the Properties tab. Specify your index document, for example index.html. Uploading your static HTML page to S3. Now that your bucket is set up, it's time to upload your static HTML page. Upload files. Go to the Objects tab within your newly created bucket. Click Upload and drag your HTML files, and any related CSS, JavaScript, or media files, into the upload area. Click Upload to confirm. Set permissions. After uploading, select your files and ensure they are publicly accessible under the Permissions tab. You can do this by selecting the Make Public option or manually adjusting the bucket policy. Making your website publicly accessible. To make your website publicly accessible, you need to configure a few additional settings. Enable public access. Under the Permissions tab, navigate to Bucket Policy and add a policy that grants public read access to your files. Here's an example policy. Version, October 17, 2012. Statement. SID, Public Read Get Object. Effect, Allow. Principle. Action, S3: Get Object. Resource, ARN, AWS, S3: your bucket name / Replace your bucket name with your actual bucket name. Access your website. Once the policy is set, your static website will be accessible via the bucket's endpoint under the Static Website Hosting section in your bucket's properties. Reflecting on the journey of hosting a static website on AWS. Congratulations! You've successfully hosted a static HTML page on AWS S3. This experience familiarizes you with AWS S3 and allows you to explore more advanced AWS services. Whether you're building a personal blog, portfolio, or small business site, hosting on AWS S3 offers a robust and scalable solution. Thank you for listening to our podcast. Please share this podcast, visit our website and follow our social media links.